薄いのアホ。
プリズムパワーメイクアップカードレディー。
Welcome to Shoujo and Tell, where we discuss shoujo manga and tell who's hot and who's not, talk about themes, and just generally geek out. Today, March 14th, Pi Day, 2021, we'll be shoujo and telling about gosh, I can't read anything today. Today, March 14th, 2021, we'll be shoujo and telling about volumes 8 through 13 of AO HARU RIDE by AO Sakisaka. I'm your host, Ashley McDonald, and I'm joined by Shoujo Beat senior editor, Nancy Thistlethwaite. Hello, Nancy.
Hi.
At least I could read your name. That was I managed to get through that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Nancy, you were on for the first half of AO HARU RIDE. Obviously, I feel like that should be obvious, but that happened like a year ago. You know, like those were different times, truly, like start of COVID times. And you were also on the We Were There episode. But in case people haven't listened to those, can you tell us a bit more about yourself?
Hi, I'm Nancy Thistlethwaite. I'm a senior editor at Shojo Beat, Viz Media, and I worked on AO HARU RIDE, and I'm currently working on Love Me, Love Me Not, Idle Dreams, Vampire Night Memories, Meizan Ikoku, Collector's Edition, and I will be on my Love Mix-Up, which is one of our new series.
Ooh, should I be reading that? I need to get
Yes,
into Love
you
Me,
should
Love Me
be
Not.
reading that when it comes out.
Okay.
It's by
I will add it.
Aduko is the artist for My Love Story.
Oh,
So-
okay. Yeah, I think I did see something about this, and then I forgot. So I'm going to put that on my radar, you know, in my endless manga. My dad will yell at me. He'll be like, why you have so many books? I have to build bookshelves for. That's fun. That's good. Okay. But everybody, this is your spoiler warning because this is about the second half of a manga. There's no way I can't spoil things, okay? So if you haven't read AO HARU RIDE, don't listen to this podcast. If you only watch the anime, don't listen to this podcast. The anime didn't even get as far as we went in the first episode. But I don't control you. So if you want to listen, like, fine, cool, whatever. Just, I warned you, right? So, great. Obviously, AO HARU RIDE is available from Viz Media Shoujo Beat line. So if you want to read it, you can go buy it physically, digitally. Well, I don't know. Actually, is AO HARU RIDE like out of stock for pandemic times?
No, actually, we just reprinted volumes 1 and 2. So, but yeah,
Okay.
people started collecting it more during COVID. Definitely.
Yeah. I was like, oh, wait, every time I go to try to like start a new manga, I feel like half the time it's like that volume is out of stock. And I'm like, oh, I'm very sad. Thanks, COVID. Anyway.
They can't, the printers aren't at full capacity even now. So print runs may not be as big or may take longer to replenish.
Yeah, they can't keep up with our manga demands.
Yeah, I feel like this is the time where I would advise, buy the new series, pre-order the new volumes that you want. This is probably not the time to be like, oh, that Shoujo Beat title that was published 15 years ago. I got to start suddenly collecting that, because, the reprints probably aren't going to be there for you.
Yeah, now's not the time. Focus, everybody, on the newer things. All right. Well, since this is about the second half of a series, and we did this about a year ago, which I will link the first episode in the show notes, since we normally don't do like running things at the time, right? So for everybody who needs a little refresher about what happens in volumes 8 through 13, Kou and Futaba get together. At the end, that's it. No, okay. Volume 8 begins with Futaba asking Kou to reject her so that she can move on. So then she starts dating Kikuchi to try to help speed that process up, and Kikuchi's like super into her, so it could have worked, maybe. Kou immediately regrets his actions and tries to talk to Narumi, who was his like friend in Nagasaki, who helped him get through the grief with his mom, or like went through the losing his mom with him, because she also had a parent who was in the hospital at the time. But Kou is like, okay, I'm gonna man up and like tell her that I can't hang out with her anymore because Futaba is getting the wrong idea here. They all go on a trip to Nagasaki. Woo, fun times. Where Futaba tries to like really fall for Kikuchi, but that doesn't work. So then, no, for real, Kou and Futaba get together at the end, man. Kou gets hit by a car. That happened. This still makes me laugh. The end. No. I love that the
I
getting
love
hit
how
by a
you're
car.
like extremely detailed in the beginning, and then you're like, oh, he gets hit by a car. The end, you know.
He's fine, but he's fine though. The end. I just love. I like can't handle that he got hit by a car. Honestly, like I know that Sakisaka said in the side notes that it was based off of something that actually happened in her life, and I'm like, I still can't handle it. It's too much.
Yeah.
Ugh. But anyway, all right.
Yeah, I feel like there were two like really forced action scenes, which are very like
Yeah.
early noughties or late 90s shoujo manga, which was, you know, the guy stealing her backpack and then the car accident, which almost seemed out of place in this manga because there's so few external things that happen like that you're kind of like, wait, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I can't handle this. Like, what is this a Nicholas Sparks novel now? Like, I didn't sign up for that. That's not what I'm here for at this time. You know,
I still kind of base this a little bit being loosely like referencing like, We Were There. So I was like, okay, there's the hospital scene.
Yeah. I know. I was thinking that. I was like, something like this happens in We Were There too. So it's probably.
I think she falls downstairs though. It's not as dramatic as like she just like faints and falls.
Yeah, yeah. But I was like, is this a reference to that? Come on. Too far. It's still too far. All right, but today we're gonna try something maybe a little different. I'm gonna try a little structure change here. See how it goes. If it ends in disaster, don't blame me. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. I wanted to frame the beginning of our discussion by going through all the confession rejection scenes because I feel like there are a lot of them. Like that's like kind of the bulk of these like however many 6 math volumes that we read. So the first one was the confession between Kikuchi and Futaba. I think that's the first one. Well, oh no, I didn't even include rejection.
Yeah, Futaba and Kou, right?
Yeah. I was like, oh wait, we gotta add it. We start off with Futaba and Kou. Fake rejection. Yeah, that was brutal. I was like, I don't know why either of you think this is gonna work, but I guess it's because you're 16. You don't know. You don't know any better.
Well, I think she wanted closure, right? And he wasn't at the right place to.
Yeah, he's like, there's no closure here. Only wounds. Only open wounds. You know?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do for you, girl? Like,
well, I think it is interesting though, because timing is such a strong theme in this, and it's that you may be mentally you screw yourself up for something, you're mentally ready, but the person that you are interested in is not in that mental space. So even though you've done all this preparation, and then it's just like shocking, right? That this guy has, it comes out of the blue to him, right? Because he's like, what? I'm not ready for this. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I thought we were doing okay with our like will they won't they game that we keep playing. Mm-hmm. Like I know Narumi's here, but I'm not dating her, like, but he never just says that. It's like, Kou, just say you're not dating Narumi. We can Futaba's a big girl, she can handle it,
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think about his perspective. I guess because he knows that Narumi is interested in him. And she's like taking up all his time because she's going through grief right now. And
she kissed him in the past.
Yeah, and like he's trying to be there for her. He realizes like he just doesn't have the bandwidth to take on Futaba at that time, And I think he's still going through his last, processing his grief because I think it takes him going to Nagasaki right later, and that happens later, that he realizes he comes to terms with what's happened in his grieving.
Yeah. I think I do like this series for, as you said, it's a very much about like right person, wrong time consistently.
Mm-hmm. And they're trying to do the right thing. I mean, the difference is like they're all trying to be better. Like Futaba's trying to be courageous and he's trying to be caring. Like they're not yeah, they're both earnest, you know, they're just not connecting.
Yeah. And I guess I was going to say, you know, comparing it again to We Were There, like I would say We Were There is another case of like right person, never the right time, right? But in We Were There, there's like a big time skip, and they like meet again years later. But it's interesting in AO HARU RIDE because they're actually just still trying to fight through the time, like most of the time where they're not together, right? Like there is a bit of a time skip in the beginning because Kou goes off to Nagasaki for a couple of years, but then like they come back and it's still not the right time, and they're like, no, we're gonna fight through this, like find the right time. No, Kou got hit by a car. Oh, still, we're gonna do it anyway. You know, like it doesn't matter that Kou got hit by a car. We're gonna kiss anyway. Like, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's a good take on it, I guess.
I may disagree about how that was characterized, but
oh yeah,
well, just a little bit, because I don't think it was just like the car accident. I feel like the car accident was kind of thrown in, but I don't think it was a moment where they decided that they loved each other, because they had decided that pre-car accident that they were going to meet up. I think that it was more like Kou was having this slow build to becoming the person that he was going to be. And you could say Futaba also was doing that slowly through her development, and that they had found the right time, right, which was Christmas, which was before the car accident happened. So the car accident kind of just happened. I feel like I don't think it was important to the story, honestly.
yeah,
because anything could have happened. It didn't do anything, except I guess it kind of put them together in the same spot.
right. No, I guess what I'm saying is like that feels like, you know, it should have been some somewhat of a derailment, but kind of the point of it is that it's not. They're like, no, nothing, no dramatic thing can come and ruin our love because we are assured of this now. I don't care that he didn't meet me at the time at 7 p.m. in Sankaku Park or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter anymore because we definitely love each other. And time can no longer mess this up. I love how we went from talking about the rejection to like actually the real confession.
Yeah, I also wonder if it was put in there because she couldn't have the other characters react to a close, intimate scene between Kou and Futaba if it took place with them on their date, right? So instead you get the brother in there, you get Komito, you know, like you have other characters that are able to like share in that moment for the way she built it up. I don't know.
Anyway, this rejection is wrong. Futaba and Kou, you know, you fight anyway. You're all like, oh my god, all we see is each other. We have a problem. You do have problems, children. But that's okay. Then, okay, so Futaba has briefly decided that she has gotten closure with Kou. You know, he was like, yes, I reject you, whatever, cool. So then Kikuchi is like, I have an opening. I still don't accept them either because like their meeting story is just so weird. like, oh, I groped you. Now I have a crush on you. Oh, what? Okay, Kikuchi, but that's fine. But yeah, so then Kikuchi and Futaba, like Futaba's trying to be more girly, and Kikuchi's there being like, "Hey, I like you, no matter what you're doing. I like you just as you are. I like you even though you're in love with Kou. I'll help you get over that crush on Kou." And I was like, boy, I love this bold statement that you've made, but you are doomed. You are doomed, my boy. And I have to confess, my confession is that I've never really liked Kikuchi. Do you like him?
I like aspects of him. I think he is a little bit too much of I don't know how to say it. He's not really acting like a boy of his age, right? Like,
right.
let me share your feelings with me. You know, like he's
Yeah.
very he almost seems false in that, in the point where he's so altruistic, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
that it rings. But I don't think he's devious. He's just,
No.
you know, I actually like Kikuchi a lot more. I think the first time I read it, this time going through it, I think I was comparing him to Kominato and how his character is much more developed. I think Kikuchi, he's kind of thrown in there, but he doesn't really exist. There's a few scenes where he's like watching Futaba with his friends, but he doesn't really exist outside, you know, of Futaba. And I think that was a conscious decision because you don't want to make him more popular than Kou, right? Because he's
right.
You know, but yeah, he's an interesting character. I don't know.
No, yeah, I get what you mean about like he doesn't act his age. I think I also don't like that like he's trying to have this bad boy image.
Oh,
like,
the earring!
A bit,
You
like,
got
with
you were
with
insulted by the
earring.
earring.
I was insulted by this earring. I was like, I don't like this look. I don't like that you did it just for like, I know it's kind of similar to actually what happens in Horimiya, which I've been loving Horimiya, but I'm like, I don't like Kikuchi. I don't like Kikuchi trying to do this. He's in a boy band, and I'm like, no, I can't deal with this. For sure. There's just something that doesn't match up here.
Maybe it's kind of like Futaba though, where like Futaba's trying on different things, even though it's not really her, you know?
That's true. That's true.
And then I feel like Kikuchi is kind of doing this, oh, you think I'm too, you know, conservative? Well, let me show you, you know, that kind of like they're making kind of silly mistakes, right?
Yeah. I don't begrudge. No, that part is like realistic, but I'm just like, I don't like it. You know, like emotionally, okay. I'm like, I'm not into it.
He seems like, I always think, because I guess he is the same year as she is, but I keep in my brain he's like a year younger or something. He just acts. I don't know. It's just weird. He seems like he's
like he has this idealistic version of how love should go, and he's like imitating it too. But it's like not how it actually works. But to your point about him and Kominato too, I do think that they're like kind of foils for each other, because Kominato is also like, you know, kind of set up to be the second to Kou's brother, right? Like to another Tanaka. And it's like Morale is not naturally interested in him. Although I think we do get to see scenes where it's like, oh, okay, they had more of a connection than we were led to believe, right? But like, yeah, so Kominato, but as you said, like we get to see Kominato not just be like pining for Morale, right? Like he's like, hey, I'm best friends with Kou. And like, I like to hang out with Futaba too. Like he has personality outside of like pining for Morale. So they're definitely interesting foils, but I'm just like, Kikuchi is cute. Like I'm not gonna say that he's not. Like what he does is fine, but he definitely feels like some weird storybook thing more than a person. And like he's trying to have it two ways in the storybook, like badass prince and altruistic. And I'm like, no.
And in some ways he's making it difficult for her to refuse, right? Because he's like, no matter what reluctance you have, I'm going to argue that and say that it's, you know what I mean? Like it's
he's going to flip it.
I'm going to set this little trap for you. So no matter how you try to reject me, I'm going to say it's fine.
Yeah. And I'm just like, boy, you need to have feelings of your own and let them out. Like I believe
and then there is that thing towards the end too, where she's saying, you know, he tells her that like, I knew once we started being more honest with each other, you were going to break up with me. So he's really being a little like, you know, before he professed that he wanted honesty, right? But he actually didn't really want honesty.
Yeah. And then even when he wanted honesty and he knew what he's like, I knew what it would do. Like he's always right in the end. You know? Like, okay. Simmer down. That's how I feel about Kikuchi.
But you know, he was really put in there to torture Kou, and in that role he did quite well, right? Because
he did really good.
Yeah, he did well at making Kou realize like he messed up.
Yeah. I love that Kikuchi is always trying to like just block like Futaba from Kou's view. He's like, I know you guys just stare at each other all the time. So like, hey, I'm here. Like, hello.
I
Yeah.
love that scene where like Kou is like, I should have let her sew on my button. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I was like, Kou, duh. Like, come on. You didn't see how this would go. I love the scene where Kou and Kikuchi, like, I guess after Futaba's backpack was stolen, and Kou gives it back, but he gives it to Kikuchi first
Right.
because Futaba's sick.
Mhm.
And he's like, you need to stop, like, seeing my girl. And then Kou's just like, Futaba is the one who decides who wins among us. And I'm like, it's always the man who declares that the girl is the one who who declares the winner, who is the winner. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
very, very typical. Yeah. Kikuchi only behaves in like aggressive ways when he's interacting with Kou, right? Like otherwise it's like, oh, he's so nice and magnanimous. And then with Kou, he's like, get away. I'll punch you. Don't stop talking about girl. Like, it's like, all right, Kikuchi, which is it? I don't know. But yeah, we'll probably talk more about them as we go along. Then we get a confession. This is a little side couple, but you know, they're cute, I think. Confession between Uchimiya and Makita. They do talk a lot about, so Makita is initially upset because they're at a park or a festival or something with Futaba and Kikuchi, and they are like, okay, let's give them alone time to be a couple and cute and whatever. And Uchimiya and Makita have been crushing on each other for a while, but you know, neither of them notices because that's how this works. Everything is confusing. So then Uchimiya just seems like to casually go along with something that Makita said, be like, yeah, so like we should date.
Yeah, she didn't want to give them the wrong impression, right? She was saying that, you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
if we go
yeah,
off on
yeah.
our own, they'll think we're dating. And then he's like, well,
Right.
then we should just date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty smooth. I actually really
it
like
was
that.
it was a smooth. It was a smooth.
But Makita does not like it. No, she's like, I hate it because you just made it seem like he wanted to date on a whim. And he was like, it wasn't a whim. It was very calculated, but I tried to go with the flow and it didn't work. And I'm like, no, it worked. It would have worked on other girls.
Yeah.
I actually am very surprised by how calculated everything is in this manga. Truly, like all of these people, they're not doing anything on a whim. They might like they think about it maybe perhaps too much almost, but because I feel like in real life sometimes people do be like, all right, I just want to see where this goes, and you can be surprised by that, right? But in this manga, they're like, okay, I have to ask them out in this very particular at this particular time in this particular methods. And it's like, okay, maybe you don't, but I love that you're thinking about it seriously, you know, taking this very seriously. It's good.
They probably also don't have that many opportunities because they're all friends, right? So it's probably hard to not make a big deal out of it, right? And like try to get someone alone to like confess to them.
Yeah, they're like, we have to be calculating because we got to pull each other away from this group all the time.
Right.
Do you like Uchimiya and Makita?
Sure.
You're like, they're good, they're fine.
Yeah, I like Uchimiya. I don't like the other guy. Oh my god.
Oh, Shun.
Shun. Oh my god. What a we don't like Shun.
Terrible. I was gonna say that when we were talking about Kikuchi too. I was like, I hate Shun, but I was like, all right, fine. I won't say it. But yes, I'm glad we said it. I hate Shun.
Yeah, when you call a girl that word and you don't even know that person, like, oh my god.
Like, you're just a bad boy. Yeah.
Yes.
I got the sense that like Kikuchi and Ushimiya don't even like him that much. They're like, we just need to fill out this band. I don't know. He's just like
yeah.
I don't know. Everybody has that friend who's like, it's like they're fun to hang around, but also they're like kind of idiotic and you're like, please stop talking now. Like, I don't want you. I'm not here to listen to you talk. We're here to have fun. Okay? Right? That's what Shun is. All right, then we finally get a rejection between Narumi and Kou. Long time coming. Literally after Futaba is like, hey, I need you to reject me, Kou. Kou's like, wait, I've made a mistake. I need to talk to Narumi. And then it takes like 4 volumes for that to actually happen because she's just like, I just pretend I can never answer my phone now. You know, now's not a good time, Kou. But what I'm most proud of in this rejection is actually that Kou is going to do it regardless of whether he thinks he can be with Futaba, because he does have moments where he's like, oh, it is too late. Like, her and Kikuchi are doing just fine. How do I make my way in there? Like, I'm not a person who goes and I'm not gonna like try to steal or whatever. Maybe it won't work. You know, he's just like, ooh, I have doubts. But he's like, okay, regardless of whether I can be with Futaba or not, I have to reject Narumi because she has feelings for me and I've been leading her on, and like these are separate issues.
He wasn't leading her on though.
That's true. He wasn't leading her on.
He was trying to be supportive, and she was using her parents' death to get closer to him. Like she needed the friends, but she wasn't reaching out to anybody in, you know, at her school. She was just relying on Kou for everything.
Yeah, she's like, Kou is my, you know, therapist, and Kou's like, I did not sign up for that. Are you gonna pay me $200 an hour? You know, like
he didn't say that in the manga.
He didn't say that in the manga, but that's what he's thinking. That's how I interpret this. Yeah. So I just like that Kou was like mature enough to be like, these are separate issues. It doesn't, like, you know, he's not gonna be codependent on one girl. Like, you know, it's like, oh, well, if I can't have Futaba, then I can have Narumi. Like, he's like, no, it doesn't matter. I guess I am very curious how you feel about Narumi.
I don't like her.
Okay, good.
Maybe her and Shun can like meet up. I don't know.
Wow. All right. She's like a step above Shun. But yeah, I'm just like, I cannot respect this girl.
No, I mean, she really takes, like, she was kind to Kou when he moved schools, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning. But then, you know, as she said, something changed and she became petty. And it was really about control rather than, you know, trying to be close to Kou. So, yeah. I was thinking about this with We Were There, where I think it's Yuri, right? Like, you hate that character in the beginning. And she turns it around and you're like, wow, you know, but this did not happen. That did not happen.
Yeah, well, that was my next question. It was like, do you think that Sakisaka wanted us to feel better about Narumi? Because like there is that chapter.
She gave her a lot more screen time. Like Kikuchi didn't even get as much, you know, panel time, right, as Narumi does, like kind of towards the end.
And so I was like, I think, yeah, like I don't think I'm actually supposed to dislike Narumi. Like, I think I'm supposed to understand and be sympathetic to her, but I'm like, I am not. I am not. Nope.
I guess I feel like we're supposed to realize that she actually had some growth too, right? And so I can acknowledge, yes, she grew as a character, but I still don't like her.
Yeah. It's like she has a lot of work to do. She can go do that away from Kou. That would be good. Narumi. Definitely not my favorite character here. Okay, well now we're finally approaching, like, you know, we've gotten all these obstacles out of the way. Final obstacle, Kikuchi. Futaba is like, all right, all I ever think about is Kou. Like, Kou is clearly making moves on me. Like, maybe it can finally work. And so she's like, I have tried. I think, again, maybe not as strongly as Kou was like, these are separate issues. Like, Narumi and Futaba are separate issues. I do think that Futaba was like, okay, I've tried for a significant amount of time to try to put Kikuchi as the first one in my heart, and it is not working. And now that Kou is back here, like, I guess I should try for that. And this is unfair to Kikuchi. Like, again, a bit of a separate issue. It's like Kikuchi it deserves better than this, like, for real. I know he'll say he doesn't or that it's fine, but he does. So I'm gonna break up with him. And of course, Kikuchi's like, you can say anything except that you want to break up with me, because that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, that's emotional. Yeah, pressure. I loved the scene with the scarf, right? Because Ko gives her his scarf, and then she's like, it smells of him, so she like smacks it down. Like, I love that panel. She's like, ah! and then she realizes once it's cleaned that, you know, she has to erase Ko from her heart, and she just doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to give him up.
Yeah, like, doesn't she say that directly to him? She's like, yes, I will erase you. And then immediately like, no, I can't
Yes,
do it.
exactly. She's like, wait, this is for real now. And actually, this isn't what I want. You know, because I feel like when she's going out with Kikuchi, Ko starts pursuing her, right? For real.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
he hadn't before. He was always kind of not hot and cold, right? We'll say hot and cold.
Yeah. They were just being like friends. And then, like, if an opportunity came up, he might say something that was like, oh, he could be flirting with me, but, you know.
Right. And so, yeah, so at this point, she realized. So I feel like Ko is in their relationship, right? So she's never kind of been without Ko because he's still there as a friend. He's still there talking to her a lot and hanging around a lot when she's with Kikuchi, thank you. It's the time change.
I know.
My brain.
Well, I'm also like, Ko and Kikuchi both start with K. It's getting confusing.
Kikuchi, yeah. So she suddenly realizes, like, oh, Ko's not going to be around anymore. And then I think that, you know, drives the truth home,
I can't
right?
handle that. Yeah. I love that she's like, I just ran off from our class trip as a friend. And I'm like, no. You do not suffer severe consequences for your friend over and over and over again. Like,
yeah.
For just your friend.
That scene on the bus coming back was really sweet when she was sleeping and he was closing the window.
Oh, yeah. And he was like, it's too cold.
Yeah. And she sniffs him again. Remember, we talked about that in the first episode, the sniffing.
Yes, the sniffing. Yeah. She sniffs him in her sleep. She's always sniffing him. She's like, I love this scent. She just loves him for his scent, you know? She's like, I need all my scarves to smell like him. Like, how do I function otherwise? Well, now we can talk confession between Kou and Futaba round 2, I guess. Or, Kikuchi, okay. To Kikuchi's credit, he did take the rejection well in the end. You know, like, he wasn't like, no, don't do it. He was like, I knew that this would happen. Yeah. When I told you that actually we would confront your feelings for Kou head on, he was like, no, that just means you're going to think about Kou more. Like,
and really, it was the first time he was actually honest, because he's like, yeah, this has been like torture, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't want it to happen, but I was still in torture all the time. So he wasn't happy with her either, which is the first time we actually hear him say that.
Yeah, so he learned something too, and I'm like, good for you. You know, he has a potential partner that we'll talk about later. But yeah, so then Kou and Futaba are finally like, all right, it's Christmas. That's the romantic time in Japan. We're gonna do it. We're gonna meet up. Just kidding. Kou gets hit by a car. It's fine. We're gonna meet up in the hospital.
You are now no longer able to reference the hitting by a car.
No more references.
I think
to
the
car.
like 10 references at this point.
I hate this car crash so much, man.
No, but we have to step back from that and realize that she knew that, you know, after Shin, she had to make the overture to Kou, right? So she actually decides that she is going to pursue Kou despite what people might think, which is her being courageous again. And then Kou goes out of character too, right? Because he goes and buys her flowers, which he's just like so embarrassed by that he's actually.
I'm embarrassed for him, truly.
Yeah, but you know, he's really trying to be expressive, which he wasn't before.
Yeah, he gets all smiley. I'm like, ugh, who's this? Who's this Kou? What's going on? It shocks me. No, in general, I'm not attracted to Kou, but then there's that one panel where he's like on his desk and like grabbing at his hair, and he's like so conflicted. He's like, how do I get Futaba to be with me now? And I was like, all right, that's a good look. Actually, you should like do more stuff with your hair, Kou. Like, what's going on? That's how I feel about Kou. That's my my true Kou feelings. In the end, they were cute. The kiss. I'm like, this was cute. In the hospital with a bandage on his head.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get to be cute all the rest of the way. I do like that the confession that comes after them, there's like still more confessioning, getting together. I was like, yes, I'm glad that it ends on Kominato and morale, actually. Because we get to learn a lot more about Kominato in these volumes, and all these little cute stories that are like, oh, Mr. Tanaka, Morale, and Kominato have been kind of this weird love triangle for like a bit, in ways.
Although
that, like,
I feel like Mr. Tanaka, he really stepped back. Remember when we talked about it in the first one? I think that was the end of it, when he's like, no, it's not going to happen. Like, I don't feel like he actually is. I think he's only, because he's not ever talking to Murao. He's only talking to Kominato and trying to spur him on, right? Giving him a hard time.
Yeah, I guess I was going to ask if you think that it's only to, like motivate Kominato.
Yes, because we also know that he's planning to go to the United States, and that he had wanted to, and Kou had said like he had put his plans on hold for him. So I believe that it's completely trying to light a fire under Kominato.
That's a questionable tactic in my mind for a teacher to take, but like, I guess it worked in the end, so okay.
Well, I think because Kominato was so obsessed by it, right? Like, he wasn't going to get it out of his head until, because he kept seeing him as a rival, even though he wasn't a rival anymore. And even Murao was like, he's not a rival anymore. Like, when he was confessing to her, she's like, yeah, you didn't need to tell me all that about Mr. Tanaka,
Yeah. But she's like, I love that you did. That's nice. Mm-hmm. I guess to me, it never felt like, I mean, maybe, before the manga started or something, like, it just never felt like Mr. Tanaka thought of like, what if I try to tell him that like I would never date Morale, like he never tried to seemingly take the other tack. He's just like, okay, he thinks I'm his rival, so I'm just gonna like lean into that perception, but you try to use it to motivate him to do something else, right? And I was like, okay, I feel like there were other options here, but sure, we didn't take them. No, their confession scene is really cute. I love that Kominato was like, okay, I'm gonna tell you about Mr. Tanaka, but then I hope you choose me, and I'm gonna give you chocolates. And Morale's like, you are really dense. So dense.
And then she's like, here's my chocolates for you. So she had actually planned on giving him chocolates the whole time.
Yeah, because she knew the whole time. She's like, obviously this was a date. I knew it was a date. Everybody knew.
And this was another thing where, we were talking about them having to plan so much to do these confessions, right? And so he had tried to like entice her in by a false story of exactly 4 movie tickets being won, which she saw through immediately.
Yeah. Like, his is always like, this is very transparent. Everybody else's was like, all right, they like usually pulled it off, but his is like, everybody knows. It's not gonna work. Except it works because she actually likes you. You're just really dense.
Oh, so I wanted to ask you, because I remember in the first part 1 that we had talked about Kominato, and then I had told you there was a flashback coming, right? So what did you think of the flashback?
The flashback where Morale, like,
where he's he's younger, and we learn really, about really him. Yeah.
I do think, I thought he was really cute. Like, I'm really, really like Team Kominato now. I love, like his relationship with his sister, with the grandma, and everything.
And he's not afraid to cry. I think he's the biggest crier.
Oh yeah, he loves crying.
Of all the characters, yeah.
He has so many emotions.
Yeah.
So I'm like super Team Kominato now. Like I'm like, yes. I think actually what I'm most disappointed by between the two of them is that I don't feel like we ever got that much with Morale.
Yeah, her transformation happened behind the scenes, right? She wasn't
Yeah.
going to tell anybody that what she was thinking.
Yeah. And it's like it's not that she's never there. Like I would argue she gets more screen time than like Makita in the second
Yeah.
half for sure, but I just feel
Yeah.
like, she's not as well-rounded of a character as most of the other ones.
I don't know. I mean, she really is there with kind of fighting with Kou, right?
Always fighting with Kou, yeah.
And yeah. I like she brings a lot of balance because all the other characters are so introspective and like wildly emotional. So it's nice to
Yeah.
have her in there. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I just want to sit here and read quietly.
Yeah, I love that. She's like they were like so scared of her and she's just like, I just want to read. Just let me read my book. I totally understood that.
Yeah. I was like, no, I understand her, but I was just like, oh, maybe I wanted to see you at like home once, just once.
Well, she had pretty a lonely existence, right? We knew that from the first part. Because that's why she latched on to Tanaka.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love that Kominato is so dense. He's like, oh my god, wait, does Morale like Ko now? Because he's also a Tanaka, like she just like people with this
Yeah.
cute under eyelid thing, and he tries to like
Oh, the
put the
sesame
birthmark.
seed.
Yeah, the sesame seed. Like, what
Yeah.
are you doing?
I feel like that was the mangaka making fun of Mr. Tanaka in a way.
I mean, he's the biggest joke, but he has the best shirts, like in the worst way. They're actually bad shirts, but they're great
Also,
shirts.
Tanaka really likes to Mr. Tanaka likes to tease people. That's why I think he's kind of in
Mm.
character the way he like gives Kominato such a hard time all the time.
Yeah. You're like, this is just he doesn't see the other way. He's just like, I gotta make fun of children all the time.
Yeah, and he was making fun of Ko a lot too, like trying to embarrass Ko at school, which also maybe not is that professional.
No. Mr. Tanaka's just not a professional man. That's really what this comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I love that everybody keeps trying to embarrass Ko with the notebook being like,
Everybody
which of
finds
the
it. I love that like he has one little sad secret and every single friend discovers it and like humiliates him about it. It's just writing her name once
yeah.
in a notebook.
In a notebook that he can't get rid of, and it somehow always opens it. He must open it to that page all the time.
No,
Says,
they
like,
open it. They flip through it. Like, can you imagine having a friend though come over to your house and it's like, oh, is this your diary? Flip, flip, flip. Like, oh, are these your notebooks? I would never open someone's notebook. And all these people just feel like, oh, you're hiding this under your bed. Well, you must want me to look at it, right?
yeah, totally. They're like, well, it must contain secrets.
Exactly. And the fact that they feel so comfortable with Ko to do that is really interesting as well.
Yeah, they're like Ko will pretend he's mad, but actually, like it'll be fine.
Yeah, it really shows that the veneer that Ko has, like, no one buys it. No one buys that he's like this cold, unapproachable guy because they all, go through his stuff and read it. Like,
yeah, all the time. They're just like, well, now we all know, Ko. What are you gonna do about it? And he's like, I don't know. Shut up. Pursue Futaba. Do I have a choice? No. Oh my goodness, Ko. He's so funny.
The one thing though, I was just thinking about that scene between Kominato and Morao. If we had known more about her, it wouldn't have as much impact. Like, we had to not know what she was thinking for that confession to have that drama, because we really didn't know what she was going to say at that point, right?
Right. Like you're pretty sure that she'll say yes to Kominato, but like there's some seed of doubt still.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which every other confession, how it's gonna at the time it occurs, what's gonna happen.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good point.
So what did you think about this dream? I'm sorry, am I skipping? I'm skipping, but what did you think about the dream sequence? Because that was weird to me.
Oh yeah, like Futaba's like
Yeah.
dream at the very end where she's like, "Oh my god, Kou has left me. Kou disappeared. Was this real?" I was like, "But is this necessary?" This is yeah, another thing where I'm just like, "Was this necessary? Like I don't need this at this. Is this a Nicholas Sparks novel? It's not. It's not. I don't need this."
Yeah, I was comparing it to We Were There because I will always compare this to We
You're
Were
like,
There.
they're just the same manga. Yeah.
And I feel like in We Were There, the mangaka kind of had this wistful, there was a point where she made you feel how like transitory everything was and like it could
Mm-hmm.
happen this way, but it could have not, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't, and I feel like this was kind of an attempt
Oh, so
at
that was
saying
an
like there
attempt
may
like that.
be an alternate, but it didn't really go there.
Yeah. I didn't really understand the like obviously it's supposed to then be like, oh my god, did her dream come real? Because when she goes to school, she like can't find him initially.
Yeah, I mean, it was all to reveal his name, right? But it was
Yeah,
too stressful. It was
yeah, it
way
was
too
too stressful.
stressful for that part of the story to have you suddenly go, what? You're saying she dreamt the whole, season?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that was because yeah, I was like, I don't know. I guess to me, it really emphasized. I am a big believer that surprises are usually a bad idea. Like,
Mm, mm.
and they always go badly.
In
And so to
fiction.
me,
You're
I was
saying in fiction, right?
no in real life too.
Oh, in real life too, huh? All
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
surprises?
Most surprises, yes.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you really like your life planned out.
Oh
You
yeah,
have
yeah,
your
yeah.
to-do list every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm thinking specifically of like my friends tried to throw me a surprise party, but the way that they had done it was that they all told me, that they couldn't come to like my birthday party or whatever. And then I
Oh.
was just like so mad about it like that day or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And it just like doesn't I just feel like that type of stuff doesn't work. And that's exactly what happened here is like Ko was like, "Well, I wanted to surprise you." And she's just like,
Yeah, you
"I
just
was
put me
so
through
stressed out."
stress. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It wasn't a happy surprise. It was a, oh my God, he's not here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's like, there was no need for this to be this stressful. Like, I'm happy for you. But like, I don't know that it was worth all of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm okay with the car crash. I'm okay with the weird guy running away with the backpack and then like seemingly trying to take revenge on her. Like that was
Yeah, yeah,
weird
yeah.
too. Like
It
that
was
whole
weird.
thing was totally weird. But for some reason, the dream, I feel like,
You're like, that was too far?
yeah, that was too far.
Oh, okay.
I think just
Interesting.
because of where it occurred in the story, you
Mm,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And the other thing, what I really liked in here, and I think the weird guy with the backpack was also trying to show that she was a hero, and that's what Ko said, when he confesses
Oh,
to
yeah.
Kominato why he likes Futaba, and he says because she's a hero.
Mm,
And I thought that was one of the strong elements of the story. So I can understand why the other stuff happened.
mm.
But yeah, the dream, no.
Isn't the dream too far?
Yeah.
I get it. All right, yeah. The thief scene to me, I was just like, I don't believe, based on what I've seen of cities in Japan, that like Futaba ran into zero other people
It
while
was
this
during
man was
COVID.
stealing.
Did
It was
you
during
not
COVID.
get the message? It was actually like, no.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it totally wasn't written in like 2014. It was written right now. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah. I was like, I don't think that in Nagasaki they would have run into somebody. That doesn't make sense, but that's fine. Like, it didn't really break it for me. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. It was interesting. She had time to like call them and talk about her backpack, and then she still found him too.
Yeah. Well, because he had like paused or something to like look through the contents, and then he was like, "There's nothing valuable in here." And she was like, "Excuse me," and then he was like, "Mm, I'm gonna chase you now."
So Ko like found her phone, found her, and then went out and also found her backpack, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah.
dedicated.
And she only wanted it because she had those like matching tags with Kikuchi. Well, also I think she was mad that she got mugged. But,
yeah. I think it was a bit of a justice thing here. Like, how dare this injustice happen to me? But mostly it was the charm with Kikuchi, yeah. Which I really liked when juxtaposed with the charm that she bought with her friends. Like,
yeah.
There's a panel where it's just both of them are on her backpack.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I really like the symbolism, actually, of like the charm she has with her friends is additive. Like, it's already a whole thing on its own, but then when they put it together, it makes even like a new, bigger thing, right? Like, that's cool. And I was like, I know that these are naturally, like, the thing that she has with Kikuchi having half of a heart is something that we consider cute in our culture. But I was like, to me, juxtaposed with the friend thing, it seems like it's the opposite thing, right? Like, where it's just like he is unable to be a whole thing within her heart. And I'm like, yes, it's nice. I also loved when Kou was like, the trinket that links you to her means nothing to me, and I was like, yeah, throw down, Kou.
Yeah.
Kou is coming. Like, he's coming for you, Kikuchi. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it was great. Well, we did get some listener questions, so I want to be sure to address those. So the first one came from my cat name Aiko. Oh, gosh, I can't read it today. My cat name Aiko on Instagram. It was, how do you see the evolution of AO Sakisaka when you compare Blue Spring Ride / AO HARU Ride with Strobe Edge? Do you like the way she made her story go, and is it surprising to you since you already read Strobe Edge? Nancy, I was like, I can't remember if you read Strobe Edge. I have.
I have not read it in its entirety.
Okay.
So I can't fully answer that question, but I would say it's something that I talked about a little bit in part 1, is that she matures with every series that she does. So like, I think AO HARU Ride was definitely a progression from Blue Spring Ride, and then Love Me Not is a progression from AO HARU Ride. Like, she keeps improving, and like, she's writing more mature series, even though the characters are the same age range, which I find kind of compelling.
Yeah, that's also I haven't read any of Love Me Not yet. But I have read Strobe Edge twice. And my impression of Strobe Edge was like, I think there's some more dire, like, I don't know. They have much more emotions, and like, I think she's playing with the same types of themes in AO HARU Ride, but I think the characters, were much more like mature about and handling the situations. Strobe Edge, also the first time I read it, I just like didn't like it. The second time I was more sympathetic to it. Whereas with AO HARU Ride, I still really don't like the first volume. Like, I think it's still a very weak setup. But then from there, I'm like, oh my god, it's amazing with like a couple missteps. Like, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, otherwise, I think I agree. Like, she just has gotten really better at handling the maturity levels of characters, even though, they stay the same age.
Yeah, one of the themes I'm unearthing as I do Love Me Not is she really starts talking about how parents' decisions mess up the lives of their kids. Like, it throws them off course of what they would do. So the divorce that happens in AO HARU Ride completely throws Kou's life off course for a couple of years.
Right. Yeah.
And in Love Me Not, it's even more of it affects 3 characters' lives, in that it kind of thwarts a would-be romance, and then it thwarts another romance. Like, it just kind of it's interesting to see that. And of course, as I compare it with We Were There, as I always do, we also have that divorce also throws off his life for like a decade, because of his mom's choices.
Right. Yeah. That's true. I guess the thread that I see between Strobe Edge and AO HARU Ride is more in the, like, there are characters trying to force themselves to love a person that they don't actually love out of like sympathy. And I think in Strobe Edge those emotions were much higher, and like Futaba and Kikuchi and all these characters. Like it's natural in high school, you're trying on different identities and all that. But I think in Strobe Edge, it was taken to a more extreme degree with like Ren as the main character and everything. Like he's like Mr. Perfect and and all this stuff. And I was like, I just think everything is more extreme in Strobe Edge and less mature. Yeah, like they handle it less maturely. And I don't know if this is what the asker of the question meant when they said surprise, but like for me, generally, it's like authors have they have like a handful of issues that they're always trying to work through in every single work that they do. Like it's not really about surprise for me. It's just like, oh, I want to see them work through the same exact issue with like new thoughts about what it is. And like sometimes that can escalate a lot into nonsense. I think like Clamp. I would say Clamp is a big one where I'm like, that got out of control, but then with a storyteller like Sakisaka, it's like, oh, this is like going somewhere productive. Like she's working it out.
Are we talking about tropes?
Yeah, like tropes and
yeah,
surprises.
I think that I don't agree with that sentiment that like it's bad if there's a trope in it, or if it's bad if it's predictable, like it's badly written. I actually have the opposite view. I think that the really great writers are the ones who lead you through the story. It doesn't come as a surprise. You don't have this like, oh, shock, like there's no development in shock or something that's simply new. It's actually keeping someone engaged and leading them to discover, as the story goes on, like more depth, which so I'm kind of the anti trope camp.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of shoujo, like a lot of the satisfaction when you read something is because there's expectation there that is fulfilled, right?
Yeah. This is making me think of one of Io Sakisaka's like end notes, I think, or something. In one of the notes, she wrote many of them throughout this. She was like, Shoujo manga is about like filling up the spaces in between like all the action stuff, and I was like, how do I feel about that sentiment? I think she was talking.
Now I can't remember that, but I vaguely remember that.
She was talking about it in relation to like, I guess in the magazine, they ran like, she had to finish a bunch of pages very fast. So then when it went to print as a volume, she was like, actually I touched up and like added more stuff because she felt like she didn't get like the emotions right in that moment when it ran in the magazine versus the volume. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, yeah, shoujo manga is all about those just like lingering shots to me, I guess. That's only tangentially related to this question, but
yeah, she had something about action versus development, right? Like shoujo manga is about development rather than action. And I think also people need to realize like shoujo manga is not like a novel where someone can like ruminate for like 10 years and write a sentence. Like there's very real deadlines. So the fact that, manga is as good as it is when someone is actually drawing and writing and having these deadlines is like, it's actually a really amazing, thing.
Yeah, no, I'm always impressed with manga, and I'm also like, are the manga artists okay? Are they dying? Like, I'm afraid for them usually.
Yeah. I think it's hard to have a long career. I think just like the wear and tear from drawing all the time and the deadlines is pretty taxing.
Yeah. I'm afraid for your hands. Are you sleeping? Do you get up? Like, I need to know. Like, I want you to be okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. The second question we got was from @smprincess 2802. Reading numbers, new particular challenge on Twitter. They asked, is there a moment in the manga that you wish was animated? And again, I haven't seen the anime, but it does appear to only, it goes through the summer festival where Makita is rejected by Kou and Futaba apologizes to Kikuchi for accidentally groping him. And I'm like, I don't remember exactly what volume that is, but that's like before even what we read today. Is like volume 5 or 6 or something. So it doesn't get very far. So we have many options to choose from. For me, the chapter that I liked the most in this was, I think it was the first one in volume 10, where like Ko and Futaba are not a thing yet. Futaba's dating Kikuchi, but they like ended up walking home together or something, got on the train together, and then they both see a shooting star. And Futaba's trying to grapple with like, no, I need to, like, Ko is always, every little thing that Ko does I interpret as like he possibly likes me, and I need to let that go. So she starts running in the opposite direction and like wondering why Ko even saw the star, because he was like supposed to be facing the other way or whatever. And she's just like chased by all these little bits of screen tone that kind of like represent memories of Ko. And like one of them like wraps around her leg, and I'm like, I love this. Like I would love to see this like surrealistly animated, that would be so cool. Do you have a favorite scene?
I don't know. I guess just in general, it would be nice if the whole thing was animated, because usually with shoujo manga they do, it's as a promotion, so it's not going to have the whole story. But I did like the anime. I liked I think they made a good decision of where they had it end, because I think it was only 4 volumes that were animated.
Wow, it's even less than I thought.
Yeah, it's basically to where they're like lying on the bank in the grass, and like he realizes it's like okay to have feelings.
Yeah, the conversation where she's like, if you can't fill up your heart with like one big thing, then you fill it up with like a million tiny things or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, I watched the anime so long ago, but yeah, I'm just gonna say, yeah, it'd be nice if the whole thing was done, but that's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so do you have any other final thoughts that you wanted to bring up about AO HARU RIDE?
One of the themes that I thought about reading it this time was, previously we had said that the characters are trying to do the right thing, but a reoccurring theme in this is that good intentions aren't free of self-interest, or these things that they're trying to do for other people, they realize they're also doing for themselves in some aspect. Like Ko's trying to help Narumi, but he realizes it was also because he was feeling guilty about forgetting about his mom, so he could feel better that he was remembering her while he was counseling Narumi, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Futaba also was realizing that a lot of the stuff that she was doing was also for herself. Anyway,
Oh
interesting.
yeah, she's just like using Kikuchi, and like I think he knows that to some degree, but
Oh yeah.
he totally knows that. Yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, okay, there's 2 things I want to say, but one of them is very silly, and it is that there's some side character that called Kikuchi Keek, and I was just like, I can't handle this. What is this nickname? I can't.
Geek plus Kikuchi, Keek.
I know. Oh my. Ugh, I hate it. Anyway, but Kikuchi does have a potential. There was a potential partner left open for him at the end. Kominato's sister shows up briefly, and we were told that she had to go to school in the mountains because she has like such severe asthma or something. So that's how he learned to be strong. Get a very silly picture of him holding a toy sword and having a ridiculous belt, being like crying as he naturally would, being like, I must protect my sister or whatever. So she comes back and immediately gets lost, but then Kikuchi helps her find her way, and then she's like, I want to go to this place, and they end up like at his show, and she's just like, there he is, that's the guy who helped me find you. And
I was wondering about the time of day. I guess they were having a live in the middle of the day, but I'm like, how did it suddenly happen to be a concert happening right then? I was confused.
All right, don't think about it too hard. I definitely was like, this doesn't seem right, but that's okay. I mean, the implications are that Risa, who is Kominato's sister, likes Kikuchi, and I'm like, okay, I mean...
Yeah, it's kind of like the jilted guy gets thrown a bone at the end, right?
Yeah. Totally. And I was like, I don't know anything about Risa. I don't even know that much about Kikuchi, but like, I ship it. That's fine. Go for it.
Yeah. I think there were, generally from like fan comments, there were a lot of Kikuchi fans too. So really? I think that, she probably wanted to leave something for the Kikuchi fans.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, there was no like popularity poll rankings in here. So unless it was in the first half and I just don't remember. but yeah, I'm like, oh, how many people love Kikuchi? I'm always surprised by how many people love the like jilted one, the second, the underdog. And I'm like, I guess there's some appeal to that person, but I never usually, I don't usually feel it. Yeah.
I feel like Kikuchi is someone that I think people like if they hate Kou. Because he's the alternative. Okay. I don't think they just love Kikuchi to love Kikuchi, although he's a nice, he's sweet. But I feel like nice most of them just do not like Kou.
Ooh, okay. That's fair, actually. I can see that.
Yeah.
I understand that point. Well, then I think we've thoroughly discussed how AO HARU RIDE is just... We were there. It's just...
No.
That's what I got out of it.
Well, no. I do feel like it's a retelling. Like, I do feel like I mentioned this in part 1, but I do think she was heavily influenced by Yuki Obata, but she wrote her own story. It's definitely not We Were There, but it is playing with some of the themes that were in We Were There.
But I like to make fun of it and say that.
I know you like to make me sweat, so
yeah. Oh, I'm cruel. I'm Mr. Tanaka here.
But no, I do recommend that people check out Love Me, Love Me Not. It's a very good series as well. It has 2 heroines instead of 1.
Okay, yeah, I've been wondering why there are 2 girls. I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah, they each have a different approach to love. One believes in like kind of storybook fate romance, and the other one's like, no, you have to be pragmatic and practical, and just talk to a lot of boys and see who you get along with. And so they have very opposing ideas, but they don't have a lot of close friends, so they become become best friends.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go try to remember to pick up Volume 1 next time. Mm-hmm. I order mangas. All right. Well, everybody, thanks again for listening to Shoujo and Tell. If you have comments, questions, constructive criticism, or concerns, or otherwise need to gush about your OTP, tell me, do you like Kou or Kikuchi? Email shoujoandtell@gmail.com or leave a comment on the episode's YouTube page. We're at Shoujo and Tell on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Nancy, where can people find you and your work on the internets?
I guess at viz.com you can find a lot of Shoujo Beat manga.
You're like, read any Shoujo Beat manga.
Yeah. I have a personal Twitter at Thistlethwaite, and then I also oversee the Shoujo Beat Twitter. So you can ask me questions on there or on the Shoujo Beat Tumblr.
Are you excited every time you see a new episode from us? If so, please consider leaving a rating on Apple Podcasts. This will help the show reach more hearts, or at least ears. Thanks again for listening. The next episode will be about Waiting for Spring, or at least the first half of Waiting for Spring by Anashin, because spring is finally here. We're doing all the ones with the spring in the title. You see what I'm going for? It has nothing to do with timing of schedules, nothing. No. Stay tuned. Until then, bye.